it differently. But yes, I remember this influences like as negative, how I see now. But my sister was the first role model for me because she was quite rule breaker. You know, she was the first girl who is studying in our like huge family. She was very successful in the school, and she was not accepting every rule as child. So she gave me, I guess, some open roads about many things.
So, in that sense, being a middle child was an advantage because you could learn from her.
Yes, I think yes, she was like yes, she was the only one I was having as a role model. We have only 2 age between us, but yes, I think yes, it was an advantage.
But I wonder if part of the reason you don't remember much about your childhood is that being chubby, people considered overweight, was painful. So the child chooses not to remember that discomfort.
I think this was just like this part. I think just very small reason might be there would be many things because um, I guess the first early childhood was for me. There were many like difficult experiences. Like when we talk, I still have sense of it, but like the memory is not clear, and like you see what I mean. Maybe that's why. Um, but I also had many like positive things too. But I don't like, when people start to talk about their childhood and everything, I don't recall them that much. Maybe yes.
But
Hmm.
it sounds like what was pleasing to you was, as you said, nature and connection with animals. So being in outside was grounding and affirming for you.
Yes. Yes.
What was there about your grandmother's life that was so difficult that she really emphasized you have to work hard to make it?
Mm-hmm. Because she was growing her children, like 6 children alone in very difficult times of Turkey. And she need to work really hard. Like when she shared some stories, like I can't believe that we have like 30 years between this, like after this period of life experiences, like very different than mine. And uh, like it's almost unreal to me that how she experienced these things. Like she's telling me she need to walk miles to get things, to find foods and everything. So her stories, it's totally different and very difficult uh, to my eyes. And so
What
I think that's why like she gets very difficult experiences. So she believes that I need to I need to work hard and always work hard and earn money and to be rich. And she has a story that like she built a life on her own. So
may
uh,
I ask what happened to her husband?
uh, he he just disappeared. Like he after like I think after some time he started to like go other cities and like not working, not supporting her. So she decided to not to be together with him. And in this period of Turkey, it's very difficult for a woman to stay single. It's like even dangerous, like when she's telling some stories, like she experienced some really difficult things that she was single mother. And So yes, the grandfather, he went away and they didn't saw him after.
Was that your mother's mother?
No, father, mother. Father,
Okay.
mother.
And what was the message from your mother about becoming a good woman?
Mm-hmm. Yes, quite similar one. Yes, I always remember, yes, she working hard was the them, like working hard and to be successful, but the education, mostly my like father encouraged me, like this girl, like in this period, there were nobody that studying in our family as a girl. My sister first one, then me. My father was like providing us everything to study and like he was encouraging me. But my mother, like she was like, she married very early and she was very young when we are this period and she had very many responsibilities, so she didn't take care that much about our uh, like this education part, but she always told us like to work hard and to get diploma and yes, to be independent and yes.
Mm-hmm.
Part.
And then what led you to your university, and what did you study, and why?
Mm-hmm. I studied psychological counseling.
And why?
Yes, psychological counseling because I was always like before university I was interested in human behavior and I was reading many philosophy books and yes, it was like excited for me and I was always like like trying to understand human behavior and emotions, and I was naturally very empathic person, so maybe not naturally after some experiences. So I decided to choose psychological counseling to help people and to understand them more. That's
Mm.
why.
Here, to be a counselor, a therapist, you do 4 years of psychology and then a year or two of graduate work, and then you have to pass a big exam to be licensed by the state. So, what kind of credential did you have to be a therapist?
Mm-hmm. First, like in university, we have like 4 year education, and with last year some supervision part. We are starting to practicing it last year with our mentors and teachers. Then you have right to start your counseling sessions, but to be therapist it's different. You need to like continue your degree and to study some topics that you interest in, like you need to have master's degree. For now I am like psychological counselor and working in school settings helping like families and small children.
Wonderful.
Now I am working as school counselor.
There are many different approaches. Some people use EMDR or EFT, acupressure tapping, or Rogerian, or Freudian, or Jungian, or Sue Johnson, or what kind of approach was most influential for you in how you approach being a therapist, counselor?
Mm-hmm. Yes, I know this term, maybe it's like we start to hear this term a lot, but I see myself more like a holistic approach because I think it depends on the people who I am like coming contact, who I am helping or giving guidance because I think it's changed a lot, like how what they're experiencing, for what they need help. Like sometimes a Jungian perspective, it's only like having some deeper understanding for me, but I cannot apply it to specific situations. So it depends the people and the situation, and because it's not a stable process, I guess. But I'm still learning, and especially the perspectives involves body and mind and together, taking my interest because I would love to get more education about that, and I am applying some courses about that because I think it's like psychological health, not related, not just cognitive or not just like about inner world. It's also about body, and everything is related, seems related to me. So taking my interest now, like to learn more about body. And
Have you heard of emotional freedom technique where you tap on acupressure points?
Yes.
To me, that's a really good, because I do intuitive kind of work with people, and I wanted something that was specifically body based. And this EFT works because I think it's kind of a form of self hypnosis because you're thinking about where you tap, what you say, and then I think that opens up access to the unconscious so that you can change old defeating patterns. I'll send you the information that I have. Just
yes, I would be happy to research more about that.
Yeah, and I like it because you can do it on your own. So once you teach a client, they can do it themselves, and kids can do it. So like some parents tap with their children like every night before bed to kind of process the day and clean out the emotions of the day. So it's really a versatile way of working. So go ahead. Along the way, did you call yourself a feminist? Do you not call yourself a feminist? Where are you in that?
I think like I am an activist and feminist, but like I don't have deep information about all the feminist story and like all the movements. But I think like since I guess university time it started like with myself, like some awareness started then. I start to take action about that, and I start to join groups, join reading clubs, and even create some campaigns to create communication, like more safer communication towards women. Like I call myself feminist, but usually I don't like use this titles or like even about I was a vegan for a long time. I don't use this. I think but it's important when I need to share it, I call myself feminist.
And when did that start? When you started doing reading groups and that kind of thing? What stage of life were you?
I didn't have like different women figures around me or men that like give this sense of empowerment to me, but the books and the music and lyrics, and maybe it's a cliche, but for me there was first start. Like I was learning about characters and like people from different part of the world, and that was giving me different view of world and being a woman, and even about like this body part and everything. Then in university I start to share these ideas, and like what I explore in me with other friends. So this was the growing part, and I had really nice teachers there that I can learn from them, and I can improve, like not improve. Sorry, yes, I can do something, take action about that. So university was the growing part. Before that, I was mostly changing inside. And
What kind of books do you remember that really had an impact on you?
yes, um, the first one come to my mind was the Woman Who Ran with Wolves. You know that book.
Sisterhood is powerful.
Woman Who Ran with Wolves.
Women Who Run the World.
Uh,
I don't know that book.
Yes, Woman Who Run with Wolves.
Oh, women. Oh, yeah, Women Who Run with Wolves. Yes,
Yeah.
I know that book. Yes, thank you.
Yes, this book. It was very powerful for me when I read this
Was that
book.
in high school?
No, at first year of university, I guess, maybe 10 years ago.
And did you read that as part of a course, or someone said, "Oh, you've got to read this book"?
My teacher Özlem, who recommended me to talk with you, she gave it to me as a gift, and I started to read them. It was really helpful for me because I was having some difficult times in my life. Like I was trying to adopt new life in university, and also many inner challenges were happening. So this book really helped me, and it was very poetic book, and at the same time very empowering and giving many different perspectives to also self compassion. I can tell many things about this book. It's after that we start some reading groups about this book, and it helps us to share our stories too between friends.
Because Turkey is an Islamic country, I think of the Prophet's first wife was a businesswoman. She proposed to him. She rode on a camel. I mean, you could say that she's kind of a feminist model. But then what you don't hear that so much. You hear that women should be at home and take care of the children. So I wonder what the message is from the Islamic environment around you.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I think after very long time, still the message is similar, unfortunately. Like, of course, there are many different subgroups that giving different messages. Not all Islamics understanding about that, but usually the mainstream is this, like women should stay at home and like take care of their children and husband, and there are still a lot of messages like this. But this is not the only case. I think like there are some group of people still from Islamic perspective, they see totally differently about, even they are taking some actions to empower women and to create spaces for this empowerment.
When you were in university, were there women's studies courses that were called women's studies?
I remember there are some parts in the courses, like about gender, and even in our like in our courses, there are always multicultural part and the gender part. But I don't remember in our department, women's studies, but there were like some selective courses, one or two selective courses.
In the university?
Yes, in university. In the main campus, there were definitely women's studies courses, but not all departments related to all departments. Only some, I think, international relation department like program, and we had right to take this course as selective course, not the main course.
Mm-hmm. What kind of activism have you gotten involved with in university up to now? What kind of projects or change making?
Mm-hmm. Yes, like since high school and university, I joined many different community service campaign. I also found some, I ran some community service projects. Some of them related with like women's circle was the campus violence proof like campus initiative. It was like the strong community. We were trying to build communication between women, so when they face some violence and when they face violence from their boyfriend or like from teacher, from like whoever, they can how they can connect with us and how they can get help. That was one of them. Like, and we started this with teachers. Like they were helping us. They were also in this group. Also, I had a project that involved children in the village I was living. It was long for 4 years. It was for children who are between 7 and 13. There were like some group of children who are living in this village I am living, but they are still like, to me, they were not having enough spaces to for social emotional learning and to different learning environment than schools. So we remake a building that was not used. So we create an alternative school there. And I coordinated for 3 years. It was, the name was Let's Wake the Sun Up. It was for this village children, and there were like art classes, nature visits, and dance classes. Also, like some games involved to have them for social emotional learning. And yes, it was like one of great experience for me in university. And I was also a member of Community Volunteer Foundation in Turkey. I was coordinator in Cyprus, so I was joining many different projects in Turkey, involves human rights and like some projects to create empathy, teach empathy. Mm. Yes, there were many, but those were like the main ones for me, for children. And yes, those ones I remember. There are some more, but maybe
what did you find that battered women needed? I mean, sometimes they need a safe place to go to move away from the violent person, or they need to know that you don't have to put up with this. You can empower you not to stay with this violent person. What did you find their needs were, and were they mostly university women?
Yes, mostly university women, and we were also we were also trying to create space for awareness, because this mostly start there. Like some women were young age. They were not aware. They were not aware the signs like this. For example, this manipulative behavior that they call relationship or they call love. You see what I mean? Like, I think they need to feel this support and to feel this awareness, to understand this is wrong. Like, this kind of relationship is not actually even relationship. Like, you see what I mean? So I think this belief is coming from lifelong learning, that what we call love and like attachment and everything. But yes, I think this was the first thing, to create more awareness about that, about what is violence and how to understand it, even because I think still many people don't understand, or like they are taking many how to say it, violence behavior normal, let's say. So I think the first thing was to create awareness, then to create support, to feel safer. And
so your group started that on campus, and is it still going on?
I think it's not active like before now. Like, still the founder teacher is there. But when people graduate, like me and other friends, I think it's not sustainable. Like, it's not alive now. I asked years ago, like, how it's going, and the answer was not not good.
Oh, that's sad. When you worked with the village children, were you able to encourage the girls as well as the boys to think about education and maybe university?
Yes, actually, like there were, like we were mostly encouraging some parents, like about how to support these children in like related with their age, and how yes, I think because in that age it can be temporary to like, you cannot change maybe children thoughts, or you cannot affect them, but it's better to create awareness in parents. I guess we were also connecting with parents mostly. This project mostly was to create different spaces that those children cannot have, like those children doesn't have opportunity to get involved, like this art classes, and even computer classes, everything. Like, there were not such things. We create library. So I think, yes, this was like the space for children to explore themselves in different settings.
Fabulous.
So, yes, because in village schools there are not such things. Also, like, there are very like traditional way of education. So this was like for them to feel freer and to join different games and classes. I think, yes, empowering part for children, it was like this, and we were also communicating with parents. And also our teachers were supervising us in university. That was another advantage, because we were very near to university, so it was like the bridge between.
Role models.
Yes.
When I was in Turkey a few years ago, President Erdogan was pushing for schools, high schools, middle schools to be more Islamic and to teach traditional language and religion and whatever. And he was trying to stifle what I would call progressive kind of teaching. Where is that now in terms of his influence on education?
Mm-hmm. Um, I think it's changing a lot. Depends on the school, depends on the region, because it's very dependent on teachers. For example, I am working in a school, private school, and the educational settings and programs we are running totally different than governmental schools. We are still connected, but we are independent in terms of how we are studying with children. For example, I have my own program as counselor, so I teach emotional literacy, 21st century skills, everything. But in governmental school, it's depends on teacher's view. Like if it's you see, there are he has influence on people, Erdogan, but if the teacher has open mind and vision about this education part, he can totally behave differently. Nobody can, I guess, prevent him to teach in this way, because in classes, it's a small environment, so you are one-on-one with your students. So I don't I don't see it as a big influence, but still, a government talking like this. And I think some teachers coming from more traditional way of education, I think they follow this.
I visited a middle school in Istanbul, and I interviewed some 13-year-old students. It's on my YouTube channel. Just kind of chatted, and the teachers were concerned. They were afraid that they would have to censor and be careful, and they felt like kind of a heavy hand coming down on the school in terms of these more conservative policies.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I think you see, there are very different stories. For example, if I go the more different rural parts of the Turkey, I think the everything can change. You see what I mean? In some schools, it's totally different. In some government school, yes, the story it's totally different. For example, I never worked in government schools before, but I did some volunteer works there. I before I had a client that she is when you are adolescents, you have this identity crisis and about gender questioning, gender issues and everything. Just like they were two girlfriends, walking hand in hand, they were facing many difficulties towards from their teachers, and they come to me to get help. I was even not in the school. You see, some schools, if the manager is in this mindset, yes, other teachers can feel this too. But for example, manager is can be open-minded and with vision, can maybe eliminate this pressure from government. You see what I mean?
Yes. Yes. There's a well-known film by a Turkish French filmmaker about, did you see this? It's about four sisters who live in the rural countryside, and I think it's called something like Stallions or something to do with horses. I don't remember the exact title, but did you see that film?
Uh, I think like some views coming to me like they were trying to escape from this.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, and they married off the older daughters, and then but the youngest one escaped and went to her teacher in Istanbul.
yes, I think yes, I remember. I don't remember clearly, but some scenes come to me. Uh,
It was
wow,
very
what was?
it was very traditional, that one of the girls got married and then they inspected to make sure that she was a virgin and she didn't have the proper sign that
Mhm,
she was a virgin, so they took her to the hospital to be checked up. I mean, it was all about getting married for
mhm,
girls. That was all that counted.
mhm.
Do you think that's fairly typical of rural areas or not?
Uh, yes, I think yes. It's still like, especially some like even for example, since my childhood, if I am talking this local area, the mindset was like this, but now it's totally different. People are changing. But we are living in the city, so like and also parents are learning. For example, our parents learned from us, and they are now more open-minded about that. Like my mother totally changed. Like in 10 years, she is totally seeing those things totally different. But in my childhood, this was the situation, like I remember about some of my cousins, they were marrying and they were taking those like girls to hospital to check to check like if like same story. I was seeing this around me, but now I see them less. But I think some rural areas still has this, unfortunately.
Right. Well, you mentioned that you teach your students life skills. What does that mean?
Mm-hmm. I mean, like, I had some programs about emotion literacy, like social emotional learning, to help them to understand their emotions and to regulate them in not suppress but regulate them in healthy ways. And also I create different activities to teach empathy and creative problem solving skills, um, and children rights, human rights, also like diversity education, like all about like creating this awareness. I want to make like in the future maybe more deeper programs about emotional literacy to involve parents and to teachers too, because there is not that much space for this growth in schools yet. But I found it very valuable, especially in a small age. If we really learn to understand ourselves first, if the children learn that, so they have ability to understand others too, and if they feel safe to express their emotions with their parents and teachers, so I think they will be a healthier individual like in the future. So yes, this is one of like something exciting for me.
Mm-hmm.
I like I am now creating small groups and also doing some seminars with parents. There were some gender parts too, but they are very small. I am working with like from 4 and 7. Like the oldest one is 7 years old. Children. Yes, there were like when the questions arising about gender, so I do something other than Like I don't have specific like separate um, program for this.
In the West, there's a lot of talk about increasing anxiety and depression among teens, especially anxiety among girls. And I wonder if people are talking about that, finding that in Turkey as well. Mental health issue problems are increasing for kids.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Mm-hmm.
And why do you think that it's increasing, and why are girls more likely to at least say that they're anxious?
Mm-hmm. I think social pressure and the threatening word, like the stories that people, children hearing, the social media, the high expectations from people, those are all reasons, I guess. Like, oh, we have always something in mind to catch up and to create a self to be accepted from the world, like from outer world. So I think this put a lot of pressure to people. Even like many people doesn't aware how uh, social media has. I think it's like even one like some of my friends they are sharing me like they deleted their social media because they feel really their life is lack of many things. You see what I mean? Uh, Social media, I guess, affecting people in that way, like a lot of pressure and high expectation from them and also from the world. And I guess, for example, for teens, in that um, period of the world, like everything that you need to succeed something or you need to reach something, like reach a fit body, like reach a, even like very positive things like serving us like this. You need to reach a point, you need to feel successful. But I think for even like small children, like I think I am observing many things, I guess, coming from their parents. They are affecting from this perspective negatively, affected by this perspective negatively because uh, I guess the definition of success can be different for them. Like we can the like how I think it's very deep topic. How I can explain that? For example.
They're comparing themselves with others on social media. So it's like I always there's someone looks better, more successful, doing better than me. So it's like I'm never okay with who I am.
Yes, yes, this is the point, and also children affected by this. How like the this expectation, like parents also expecting from their children. So these children viewing themselves through eyes of their parents also. So they don't have chance to learn about themselves deeply. They only try to reach this point, try to succeed in exam. Exam anxiety is very huge in Turkey, you know. Like last month, one very young girl commit suicide about that. Like very high, like people. When I was working with higher age, all the students coming to me, they were having like very physical symptoms about this anxiety, you know, to succeed in exam, to be accepted by their parents, and also I think there were many uncertainty about their future. Like they don't, in Turkey especially, people don't see very positive things about future. Most of the people, it's like it's like the situation like this now. Of course, like when I think this people who are exploring themselves in any way, like who are connecting with their spirit or trying to understand their work, they have like they're not in that case. But when you like check the news now or talk with anyone, like everyone's so feeling not good.
And
Like
climate change doesn't help. The environment, climate change is depressing too.
mm-hmm. Yes. Yes, every news is not giving hope to people.
Right. I did a book called Climate Girls Saving Our World, and there were several Turkish young women who are in it who are really activists and doing wonderful work. So that was inspiring to me.
Love to
So
read that book.
I'll
Yes.
send it to you. I can send you a PDF. So the
Thank
school that you're working with, I'm assuming it's fairly middle class because they have to pay. So I'm
Yeah.
wondering if in the village government schools, do those kids have access to internet and social media?
Um, uh, yes, most of the schools, yes, but the east part of Turkey, there are really like some part doesn't have schools like in the like accessible places. So now there are many like NGOs working about that, like creating projects to like to make this part accessible for every child. But yes, now it's this increasing, but in rural part, very like also geographically difficult part of Turkey, like has this disadvantage. Yes, about education. Like not every school has this opportunities.
Right. So those kids aren't harmed by social media because they're not on social media. They're not on Instagram and Twitter and TikTok and those sites, right?
Yes, but still, like it's I guess even like now everyone has this phone. Even in the family, one person has phone. So even now, it's impossible to like you know only migrants, some migrant groups in Turkey who are like changing their places seasonally and like very living really close to nature. Maybe they don't have. Even they have, I guess now.
Right, right. Are you familiar with Kurds, Kurds, Turkish Kurds who settled in northern Syria, Rojava? Do you know about that community?
I don't know really like valuable information. I just heard like while
Because
uh,
I'm really interested in them because they are really feminists. They believe that every governing body of every aspect of village life should have men, women, Arabs, Syrians, Kurds. They try. They're the most democratic society I know and the most egalitarian. So they're really interesting to me. I just wondered what the word is. I know that Erdogan does not like the Kurds at all.
mhm. Yes, yes, that's true. What was the name of the group?
R
Can
Rojava, Rojava, and it's in
ah, okay. Mhm.
northern Syria, and they're different communities, little like city states that are part of the Confederation.
Mhm.
How do you pronounce it?
Joa.
Joa. Oh, No wonder you didn't know what I was talking about. Anyway, they're exciting to me. What are you finding in terms of your? I mean, is there pressure from your family for you to get married? Are you married? What's happening in terms of that part of your life?
Mm-hmm. Like a couple of years ago, I was having this pressure from society, not from my family, because they know like they know me now like better. They don't talk about that much. But from society, yes, always people asking about that. Why you are not marrying? You don't want child or yes, this kind of questions, even from coming from someone you don't know,
Hmm.
like it's always question.
And what do you say to them, may I ask?
Like as marriage is not an aim for me. Like if I fall in love with someone, if I when I will think that later, like it's not a situation for my life, and also I don't want to have children. I when they ask, hmm I really love children, but yes, becoming mother is another story for me. Yes, I just say that. But questions, of course, continue. How, how that happened, and you cannot be alone, and this kind of reactions always coming, and it feels like something weird for many people.
Do you live with your family, or are you able to live in an apartment, a flat by yourself?
Yes, I am living by myself, near city to my parents, very near city, but yes, I am living alone.
Mm-hmm.
With
In a lot of Islamic countries, dating before marriage is frowned upon. You're the woman. It's very important that she be a virgin and her reputation and her honor be intact. So I'm wondering what the situation is now in terms of the dating scene. What a single people in their 20s, college students, are they? Is it okay to date?
Mhm. For now, uh, you can see many different families that having different values and beliefs about that. Most of the like young people now dating and having long time, even living together. Like some of families are very open about that. Some families, for example, I can say the area I am living now, Antioch, it's like kind of still traditional area, but people more open about that than like 10 years ago. Or people like it's normal for now. So like now, yes, the long dating and like woman and man relationship is like more they can live this more openly before marriage, but some parts it's impossible, like even in some part of Turkey when you will rent an apartment and you have man friends, it's question for people, like even sometimes when we move new cities we question this stuff, like how like which is like places is safer for this, and some places are more conservative, some places are more open, and nobody care about that. Even in Istanbul, like it's maybe you visit, like it's very big city, some parts still very closed inside of it. Some part uh, you can even cannot rent an apartment hall if you are not married with your boyfriend.
Mm-hmm.
Some part different,
And
like
I'm assuming in the countryside, in small villages, dating is not okay.
mhm.
Is that accurate?
Uh, yes, like some really small places in middle of the Turkey, some villages, very close villages, and also in east part still. Yes, there are many parts like this. Uh, yes, very small village and more, yes, people relationships, how they develop relationships, it's totally different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did a study of young people from around the world, and that's one of the conclusions was it's not so much what country that you're in that shapes your worldview, it's whether you're urban or rural. And the urban areas have similar lifestyles, and the rural areas, no matter what country, are much more conservative. So I think that's powerful, and I think that's true everywhere. It's true in the States as well. Farm ag areas are more conservative, and yeah, it's interesting. Another trend in the West is gender fluidity, and people saying I'm non-binary, I'm trans, I'm whatever, questioning their gender and their sexuality. Are young people doing that same kind of discussion of what are your pronouns? Are you they or she or he or whatever? Is that conversation happening as well?
Mm-hmm. Like in my environment now, I don't hear that a lot. In different ages, like developmental age, I hear that more. Like, for example, now even like I think it's somehow in small age, it's very natural, like this fluidity and questions start very early about being a woman and being a man, and before they learn from environment they start to question. Yes, I hear that very natural from children, but this like politically and this about this part I don't hear a lot in, maybe because they don't speak that like in, for example, the city I am living now, even like LGBT uh, and like they people don't talk about that. They are still like silent and
Yeah,
about this
we say
phrases.
closeted. They're in the closet.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
And like yes, like even when you use those words, like it's a red flag and in the conversation.
Mm, interesting. Um, are there feminist organizations that you look to in Turkey? Like the U.S. has the National Organization for Women that works really hard on legislation like equal rights for women, and then there's National Women's Political Caucus. I wonder if there's feminist identified organizations working for women's issues that you know of in Turkey.
Mm-hmm. Yes, there are many different organizations, both local and both work all Turkey sides, and I find them quite like I think inspiring because like lastly very early time I had one difficult issues. I communicate with a person in Istanbul. The networking was working powerfully, and I found support here in Antakya. Like this, there are many different organizations. There is more Çatı, maybe you know about that. More Çatı.
How do you spell that?
Uh, MMOR C with a A T I. Yes.
Morcati.
Yes, maybe I will write for you in email too.
And and they're a national feminist group?
International?
No, national feminist group in Turkey? Morchati?
Yes, national feminist group. There are also.
Wait, excuse me, what kind of policies does it have? What are its goals? What has it been working on recently?
Mm-hmm. Like it's been long time. I'm like before I was following more these groups. Like I was always following them, but like last 2 years I don't follow and check what they are doing. But they has many part like some safe spaces for women in violence, also some art part, and some like they have conferences, creating educational groups, they have support groups, they have even psychological support groups, and support groups for laws, how to say, like when you have in a specific situation and you have like you need to support in. Wait, like I will check the word in English. Sorry.
Is it like child custody after a divorce kind of laws?
Yes, yes, like sorry.
No problem.
Yes, they educate you about women rights in laws too. Also, you are having some free supports. Usually, like you need to pay for to get the support in government. Like if you are going to court, for example, you need to pay, and they have free support for this for women and safe spaces. But of course, there are some problems to sometimes to protect these spaces, but also like they are coming together to educate, to give congress, and they have many different parts. And
Mm-hmm. And are there other groups like that?
yes, for example, there is one, kadınları ve çocukları, the protection of women and children group. I just learned about them through my friend. She was doing some volunteer work there. She was psychologist, and she's, there are some district in Turkey, like even in big cities, like very disadvantaged groups of communities living. So they also teach about rights, and like they create some groups for empowering, and they also give some support classes to children too. Also, I know from my friend, she's a psychologist. She was giving free like volunteer support there. It's called, I don't know in English. I guess it's called protection of women and children. Like it's more they are more working with children and women.
Mm-hmm. You know, after the attempted coup against Erdogan, he got rid of a lot of faculty members. I mean, he just got rid of them. So I'm wondering what the climate is now in terms of ability to really express progressive ideas in universities and elsewhere.
Mm-hmm. There are like very good universities that they are not giving up about, like Boğaziçi, maybe Boğaziçi, ODTÜ, like top university of Turkey. They still like this academicians there. I think they insist there like to study their topics, to share their ideas and thoughts, I think. But there are like many teachers, even I know, they they went to other countries and they start to live because they don't feel safe in that case. And if they feel safe, they don't feel value about their work here, except some universities. Yes, usually atmosphere is like that. And my teachers in university, most of them is not in Turkey now.
Oh, interesting.
Yes, they went another countries that their work values like people give value more there to their work.
Your English is so fluent. Was that part of the university education that you were, some of the textbooks were in English and you're expected to know English?
Yes, like it's been a long time I am not using it. Sorry, today I had some
You're doing
some
great.
too. I learned English in university. I had education for 1 year, just English. Then I had 4 year education, like 5 year university for me, because first year were totally to learn English. So I learned it there, and the university I was studying is accepting you like really develop yourself because like everything was 100% English. Teachers,
All the books.
all the books, everything.
But of course, the teachers lectured in Turkish, right?
Like we had international, like we had many teachers. Some of them were they don't know Turkish too, so that was I guess that was a good thing for us. But there were some part about, of course, psychology. It's very important. Some of them we were having Turkish, like to learn some skills. They were helping us, but they were really strict about not to talk Turkish, our Turkish.
Oh, that's interesting. Around the world, there's a trend where women are the majority of college students. Like in the States, now men are 40%, women 60%. And I wonder if you know the percentage of students in Turkey in university.
Mm-hmm. Like I didn't check that if there is a research about that in Turkey. But I think the number of women is increasing in like so that's why because uh, like I think there are not that much way for women to like how we learned from society or outside world that we need to get educated to be successful. So it is for us very important. It's so like, for example, we feel even more safer when we in society. You see what I mean? When we have this education background, uh, it's something like it's changed people's view about you and
Right, and it's security.
yes, security. So I think that would be true in here too. It's increasing every day. But I think maybe in US the reasons can be quite different. Maybe economical part and
Yeah, but I know that around the world, except for sub-Saharan Africa, there's more women in university than men, which I think is interesting.
yes.
So when
Uh,
when you think about international women's issues, which issues are there that you follow online or you're interested in, or are you just focused on your work at home?
mhm. Um, For now, yes, like I am mostly like beyond this, I am mostly focusing for 1 year, maybe it's becoming two now, children education and like empowerment. So I put many things that I am learning from the world and like what I am following. I put also many things to my programs too. But I guess like the most part I am following is like about ecofeminism, maybe like their which involves all beings and nature and like I guess I see everything as like and feminism and everything together now. Like it's maybe it's called this you were asking in one question, but I will check.
Oh, while you're checking, I thought of the name of that movie. It's Mustang. Mustang is a wild horse in English.
Ah, yes, I know this word, Mustang. I was checking this intersectional issues you were asking.
That's the big theme in the U.S. in women's studies: intersectional, intersectional, intersectional. You're going to hear that a lot in women's studies classes.
Mm-hmm. Yes, like you see, like because I'm mostly focusing on now, like what I'm doing in educational settings now. So I lost some part of like the I am not following that much before this projects or campaigns running in the world now. But in Turkey, like there are some parts I'm following. There's one World Human Relief NGO. They are doing a really great job for young girls who are living in rural areas. Uh, like for me, I guess like every kind of activism that uh, creates space for every single being to have their right and like like to have their right from they come to this earth. Every kind of activism is matter. So I am taking like uh, of course like feminism is open a lot of road for me and what I learned and what people coming from before me give that to me. But I think everything like involving now, like nature and other beings, everything. So I also find it important to create like this empathy to other beings too. So it's for me I'm also considering this part. You see, I'm doing some projects about this too. Uh,
for
I don't know
for
if
the
I'm clear.
environment or for animals.
Yes, environment, animals, and trees, nature, everything actually. Like now, my focusing part is more like maybe yes, more involved everything like from this perspective, not just about girls and like more humanitarian maybe projects. Like it's same, but yes, that's why now my focus point is this is yes, I focus that more.
Got it. You mentioned that you had an issue, a problem with that a feminist group in Istanbul helped you with. Do you mind saying what that was and how they helped?
Mm-hmm. Yes, I in the street I was followed by a man and like I achieved to protect myself and run out, but even like it happened like very near to my house. I was coming to home and I faced with it, but after that I take this to court and it was the first time I am experiencing something like this. So the group of women from Istanbul. They call their connections here in Antakya, and they just called me and they told me they want to support me, and they meet me and the woman who will support me in the court, advocate lawyer. So yes. Yes, this was very nice support for me, and it happened very urgently. And you see, like in 1 hour, they just connect, and it was very important. Like I was really feeling grateful about that, because like I didn't know what to do. It was first time I am experiencing, and I was feeling really anxious about that.
Did he follow you more than once, or it was a one time?
I only realized once, like that day. I don't know. I never see him again later, because he went another city, and yes, I don't know about that. Maybe he was following me before, but I didn't realize.
Yeah. Where do you see yourself 10 years from now, say?
Yes, I guess I want to live somewhere that I can be near to nature, and also continue to help people. In that case, I think I will have more education about my field, psychology, but I will connect it with many different things, nature, and also this body part. So I found nature also really valuable source for us to heal, and so I would love to create space for people to make this reconnection, not connection, what they already know. But yes, I think my steps now, like taking me there to grow, to improve myself about the psychology field, and to take different kind of education. Then yes, to create such spaces, like healing can take form in different settings and spaces. So, but I think I found nature very helpful for that.
Have you heard about the Japanese practice of forest bathing?
What? Sorry, I couldn't.
Okay. The Japanese have this tradition of forest, like the woods, the trees, forest, bathing, bathing. So it's like you bathe in the vibration of the trees. Look up forest bathing Japan. It'll be fun for you.
Yes, I didn't hear that, but I understand what. Yes, even like it's talking about trees vibration, and
And
how
just
they have to.
and being in the forest is healing, just what you said.
Yes. Exactly. This is something I experienced, like by myself. I like in one period of my life, I was spending almost all day in forest, even nights. That it was my healing place. That really. So what I learned from that, I want to maybe connect it with also scientific knowledge and like the studies. So I think there's something for me and for people there.
Yeah. You've mentioned several times wanting to include the body in doing therapeutic work. What form might that take?
Mm-hmm. Um, like it has many part, but even I guess over the time, what we experience, we carry it in our bodies. Like even like while walking, while communicating with people. So, like when we look closer to our bodies, to trying to, if we understand it in different ways, I think it can make healing even easier, like, and even help us to grant with our difficulties too. I think this body has many things to help us out, like, because this like psychological part and thoughts, every experiences has like very big role, of course. But I think when we involve body, it's maybe easier for us uh, to overcome some parts. When I'm looking children, I am actually always observing that when they are having very difficult emotions and when they are going through difficult times, they always trying to, yeah, like, use their bodies and while they are playing, and I think there is big wisdom in it. So I want to learn more about it so I can use it in safer ways.
Do you know Peter Levine's work in trauma? Levine.
I think no, I don't know.
What he says is that this is an example. He was working with a little boy who was in surgery, and they had him, confined and wrapped up so he wouldn't move in the hospital, and he had a lot of trauma about that, and so he gave him like a doll that was wrapped up that he could unwrap, or he worked with his body sensations of being encapsulated in this, like, tied up. So Peter Levine's work on trauma is very body based, and I think you'll find it interesting. And also, do you know Brain Gym? GYM. Brain Gym. Brain Gym is wonderful. It was developed for children with learning disabilities, and what they found is when we're stressed, our body gets aligned right, right, left, left, when it should be aligned right side of the brain, left side of the body, left side of the brain. And they do all kinds of exercises that cross the midline. They call it cross crawl. And so they do exercises that cross the midline of the body, that get the body organized. So if it were me, working with kids, I would always have them cross crawl and do some brain gym exercises before they take a test or do something difficult, so they can be really centered.
Yes, I will definitely, I think, check about that. Like, I am using some activities in class when I realize, like, they seems to me lost and like, and tired. I use some, like, release technique and to make body more alive. I teach them too, like some breathing exercise and everything. So I am very, like, excited to know this new techniques and to learn about them, to teach, and because I have, like, no very nice environment for that, to teach these kids in young age. It's very important. So those are making me really excited to learn. I will apply some education to you called brain gym, yes?
Yeah, it's GYM, short for, like, going to the gymnasium. So it's like exercise for the brain.
For the brain.
Yeah, but I did a book called Calm, CALM, Parents and Children. I'll send you that. It has some of these body-based exercises in there, and of course, breathing is body-based and very, very important. Just a long exhalation calms the whole nervous system.
Yes.
Is there anything that we haven't talked about that you think should be included in terms of feminism, equality for women, anything that we forgotten to talk about?
Mm-hmm. I think I am sure there are some. I was feeling very excited to, yes, share many things. Uh, I think like when Özlem told me about this project of you, and like when I saw your message and about climate girls, this book, I was wondering about that because I think um, since my childhood, very young age, I start to care about that. Yeah, like I start to create the different settings to inform people, and like even I was in like before university. So now too, it's always included in my work, environment and the people. It's connection. So I found I get some inner, uh, like it's very important for me to share and to create spaces for these people. In, for example, I'm psychological counselor in school, but I always find create space for environmental issues and animals and everything. I think because they cannot be separated. And yes, I would love to tell like more about that, but I think yes, for now it's. I think I didn't talk about the yes environment part. Now I am creating one program that I can include in schools. You know, there is in our curriculum there is no such things. In some country there are. So I am now working on, but it's only in the beginning. So I will get
About the environment?
yes, like everything, even like recycling and how to make it more interdisciplinary, like between different classes, biology, science classes, and also like community-based projects that people, children can learn from small age. So it includes many things. I hope some schools will be open about that.
Do you have a garden at your school? A vegetable garden?
It's something I recommend, but not yet. I joined one school that has this, and almost every classes they get help from this garden. Even in math classes and biology classes, they always uh, this garden always part of this classes in one school I visited. It's very yes, I think it's very good idea. So I recommend it, but not yet. We don't have garden now.
And then they can recycle the food and make compost to put in the garden. So it's win-win-win.
Yes, exactly, and it's usually very excited for them to observe and because
Yeah,
it's
right.
experiment too.
And have chickens. It's fun to get the eggs. um, okay, well, I think that was fabulous. Thank you.